we're going to be taking a look at the all-important topic of ampacity and seeing just how to choose the right wire size for your need. This is a super important thing right here, because if you don't get this right, this is where fires and other electrical hazards happen because of overheating, and that is not something that we want. It's not a very pretty sight. Make sure you watch all the way to the end, because there are a few things that can factor in to what changes your wire size significantly. So if you're unaware of those, make sure that you stay, because those things can drastically affect the size of your wire. Let me know in the comments what the largest size of wire that you have seen is, and have you had any major pulls with any huge wire? I know I have. It's never that much fun. This right here is a 500 and it is huge. It is pretty high up on the scale. Then we have all the way down to what is incredibly common in some 12 gauge here, very, very tiny. This right here is 6 gauge stranded wire. You can see the size of that. And then right here we have 1/0. This is obviously stranded copper cable. The size of that is about my finger, probably a little bit smaller, maybe my pinky finger. 8 gauge here as well. The way the gauges work is at the smaller end of it. 12 and 14 are two of the most common, and they're what's traditionally used in homes, depending on when they're built and where. And the lower end of the wire is, the larger it gets, the smaller the number gets. So number 12 AWG, which is American wire gauge, is actually thicker than 22 AWG. So then from there, it goes all the way down to 1 gauge, 1 AWG, and it goes from 1/0 then to 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, and then from 4/0, it goes into the hundreds. And from there, it starts at 250s and ends at about 1,000. Now, the largest that I've seen are 750s, and those things were so incredibly heavy. Now, there's also copper and aluminum wire. And so copper is a lot more conductive and requires less size to carry just as many amps. But aluminum is cheaper and lighter, and it's traditionally used from the meter to your panel in your home. This is the aluminum cable. This is service entry cable, and it is the part that is traditionally used for homes. I actually got this from a home installation. You can see it comes in the sheath. That's why it comes pre-marked like this. There's a white, red, and a solid black. So that is the aluminum cable. Aluminum is sometimes used in commercial facilities for panels, but not very often. I see a lot more copper in commercial facilities, even for panel work. Another factor in the size that changes the actual wire size is if it's stranded or solid. Solid wire will appear to be a little bit smaller. This on my right and your left is solid wire, and this is stranded. This is 12 gauge, and so is this. This does have a larger diameter. However, these carry the same amount of amps. It's important that you know that, because they're both rated for 20 amps. Size 12 stranded is about the diameter of a size 10 solid wire. Stranded wire is so much easier to pull, especially through conduit, and it's traditionally used more for commercial facilities. I've seen solid wire as well. There's a lot more solid wire in homes. That is what comes in standard Romex or NM cable. So that's where you'll see the most of that. Ampacity is the maximum amount of amps or current that a wire is able to handle safely before it starts to get hot or overheat. Now, there's a couple of major factors which can change the wire size that are huge. And so the ones we'll focus on today are temperature and the length of the run, as well as what it's actually rated for, which is the size. We'll use an example that we're working on putting in a new lighting circuit. And so we need to run wire from the panel to where this new lighting circuit is going to be. So we're gonna have to make some decisions to see what size wire we actually need in order to be able to take all those amps from the panel to the lights. The first thing we need to do is figure out what the expected amperage is. So that means that we take all of the fixtures that are expected to be on this circuit and make sure that the number of those are not greater than the number of amps that we're providing. This means that if we have around 10 fixtures and we need to see how many amps a piece they pull, we'll say 1.5. So we multiply that by 10 because there's 10 fixtures. That's 15 amps. Now, it's important to know that that wouldn't be a 15 amp circuit, it would actually be a 20, because we always oversize slightly so that there is no room for error and that we're not cutting it close if there is some sort of huge surge, that the wire is safe. Secondly, we'll look at the Ampacity chart, and this is something that you will have memorized for the most part, especially for wires that you use commonly. Obviously, you can find this in the NEC, and they're all online. I really like the ones from the supply houses or wire companies because you know you can trust those. They're very, very trustable sources. This middle section in this one right here is what we will refer to for most common things outside of special circumstances. So from there, we can see that for a 20 amp circuit, we'll need 12 gauge wire. I knew this. This is a super common one. 12 gauge is 20 amp circuits. It's important to remember too that we don't want to run just a crazy amount of amps to a circuit, because all of those devices that are hooked onto that have to be rated for that amperage. That means that if we run a 50 amp circuit from the panel to the lights, all those lights have to be rated for 50 amps, since they would be able to receive that many amps without the breaker tripping and keeping us safe, even if the wire is the right size for 50 amps. Distance is another thing that can trip us up. It's important to remember that distance creates resistance, which leads to voltage drop. Now, this is one of the things that can be calculated, that I like Southwire's calculator for this, for voltage drop. It's super easy to put your numbers in there. And this doesn't usually start happening until you get about 1 foot per volt. So at 120 volts, you go to 120 feet, and then you start calculating from there. Same thing up to 480 volts. That's where you start calculating. Typically, a home circuit is 120. If you're in a commercial facility, anything that's single phase is 120, unless it's on a larger panel, then it's 277. You guys, if you're in those facilities, you should know. We'll do a video on that sometime soon. However, if you're in a home, it's 120 for single phase, or it's 240 for double. So that means if our lighting circuit is 100 feet from the panel, we don't have to worry about it. But if it's over 120 feet and it's a 120 volt circuit, then we need to upsize to 10 gauge wire. This does not mean that the breaker has to be upsized, and neither does the fixture. It's just the wire. And the wire can be as large as you need it to, as long as it'll fit into the fixture you're putting it in, because it doesn't allow that breaker to not trip. You're still safe if your wire is oversized. So when you're trying to choose the right wire size for whatever project you're working on, the first thing to check is to see what the expected load will be. Then from there, check the distance to see if it's over the maximum distance for voltage drop. And then thirdly, make sure that there's no special circumstances with heat. From there, you'll be able to look at the ampacity table and decide what size wire is correct for that project. Now, for those of you in commercial work, I will warn you that pulling these larger cables is painful. You will have to use your body as a lever for this incredibly heavy weight. These aren't traditionally short runs. They're usually a couple 100 feet. And so I would not want to get hit in the face with this. It's very, very heavy. And so basically it leads to an incredibly long day. But it does help if you have the right amount of people and the right setup and the tools. There's nothing that can really make it easy. I can tell you, I've had a lot of long days pulling wire like this guy right here. Recently, I did a video on the electrical apprenticeship, so go check that out. Or if you're looking to see what the most common electrical tools are, go ahead and head up into this corner, check that video out. But I thank you guys so much. Remember that it's all for His glory, and I will see you guys on the next one.